And I'm back.
Stephen has returned from Basel, and now he is ready to share all. It's his tell-all book.
Also back from like my mini crisis.
I mean, there's that too. So
Since our last episode when I had to abruptly jump off. So thank you for carrying on without me. That was much appreciated. And for those listening, I had a pet emergency that required me to take care of baby Izzy. So thank you, everybody.
And we are hopeful and praying and thoughts for a speedy recovery to Izzy. So
while she lays in bed, super drugged up on all of the doggy medications that they are giving us to give to her right now. So,
I mean, I guess there's worse things than stay in bed and take drugs.
In her mind, she is probably like a party in the sky.
She is high up there. That's for sure.
She is dancing with Leica right now, in her mind. So yeah.
Well, I think today it's a good opportunity. Katie's not with us today. She is, I believe, camping with some family. So she's doing her thing, getting that family time in. So we are sad she's not here, but know she's having a great time. So today is a perfect opportunity for us to look at things and say, Stephen, what was it like to go to the concert? What did you see that we didn't see? What was happening on the ground? So
yeah,
I think this will be exciting.
Yeah, it will. Where should we even start? The week in Basel was amazing.
Well, I think things kind of kicked off with the Turquoise Carpet. So tell us about what that was like.
Yeah, it was really awesome. I loved that it was a public event and it was free. It did not require tickets, and it was the longest turquoise carpet to date. It started sort of like in the main square of Basel, and had I done research a little bit better, I might have strategically placed myself elsewhere for the Turquoise Carpet event, but we found ourselves right at the beginning of the Turquoise Carpet event, where all of the performing artists were coming out and entering their trolleys. And each trolley or tram would seat anywhere from 2 to maybe 3 artists per cart, if you will. So by that time, you would then see them begin their journey toward Eurovision Village, which is where they were actually being interviewed. And in hindsight, that's actually where I kind of wish Roger and I found ourselves, because I wanted to actually be there for their interviews. Where I then
this made it accessible. Like, it made the Turquoise Carpet accessible to everyone.
It did.
And less carpet and more parade to some extent.
Yes, which was awesome. What I then also learned is that like nobody knew that they were getting interviewed, or less people knew about the interview portion at the village. So the way that they had Eurovision Village set up was this giant venue that was indoors, which was great. We'll talk about that a little bit in comparison to last year's Eurovision Village. And so the interview was basically in like an empty hall. So they didn't have as big of a crowd for the interview part as they wanted.
They probably were like, where did everybody go?
I know. And I'm like, damn it, that's where I wanted to be, because I wanted to see the interview part. But lessons learned on my end, I guess. So regardless, it was really cool. And I got a good tan out of it because it was outside on a really sunny, beautiful day.
And for us viewers, it felt like we saw all the shots and stuff from the very beginning when they first walked out.
Yep.
Introduce the people, do their little dance moves, wave to the crowd. That's what they were showing us for the most part.
Oh, yeah, no, because I was there in real time, so I didn't watch it on live stream or anything like that. So I had absolutely no idea what you all were seeing or what they were showing to you. So that's really, the little snippets that I have seen as far as segments that they've shown, during semifinal 1, 2, and the grand final seemed pretty legit with them coming out on the beautiful sunny day. Some of the memes that I've seen of their interviews that were semi-awkward, if you will.
Oh, because they were getting interviewed by was that the British drag queen?
Yeah, I can't remember her name off of the top of my head, who honestly, like, again, from my perspective, I thought she was hilarious and a great commentator for Eurovision Village throughout the entire week. But I know that a lot of people felt that her delivery fell flat for a lot of reasons. And the Kyle Alessandro
That's the one I'm thinking of.
the Kyle Alessandro one definitely fell flat. Like, yeah, that one.
Like you were trying to make a joke, and then he's just like,
wasn't.
"Nope, it's about my mother. Thanks.
It's about my mom who has cancer." That one, yeah, that one did fall flat. But her delivery throughout the entire week was actually really good. There are things that people did not see her do throughout Eurovision Village that was spectacular and should be credited. That includes her emceeing Ramo's performance to Eurovision Village, Conchita Wurst's performance at Eurovision Village, which was awesome, and other past Swiss representatives that came and did concerts and shows throughout the week as well.
So really, the 10 seconds that we saw her in an interview is not representative of your experience throughout the entire week.
Yeah, no. Like, don't let a 20-second clip of her flopping discredit the entire work that she did throughout the entire week, because she was funny. She was good. And I was, it's a hard job.
Right. She had a moment. That moment unfortunately went viral, and
if you're not going viral, then you're not doing your job right in some aspects. But I do want to talk about Eurovision Village, because you and I have done 2024 Eurovision in Sweden, and then I got to do this year's Eurovision, and the experiences between the Eurovision Village was night and day.
Really?
This one was set indoors, whereas last year was predominantly outdoors. And
yeah, they basically had taken a park and turned it into the village.
Yeah.
Last year.
And I don't feel like they advertised it or promoted it as well as they could have in Sweden. And this year, it was almost like home base for a lot of things that were happening. In addition to that, you had Euro Club that was in the complex directly across from Eurovision Village. Right next door to Eurovision Village was another complex that had, I think it was like Euro Club adjacent, if you will, but it was for people that were 60 years or older, and it went from like 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Oh, that's where we need to send the husbands. Like, Roger, Ryan, you guys can go there.
Yeah. Roger, actually, we saw like a clip of it during like a commercial portion. I don't know if you all saw it, because I think Peacock, I think it was during one of the commercial segments that Peacock.
Don't even get me started about Peacock. I had like I had to have Sweden's SVT up so that during the Peacock commercials, that was
you're
awful.
seeing what's happening. So,
and no wonder American audiences don't watch Eurovision. They're like, screw Peacock and these commercials.
Well, so it was during a segment that you all were probably getting like Peacock commercials, but they had a segment about the 60-year-old plus Eurovision club that went on from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. every day. And Roger looked at me and he's like, that's the club that I needed tickets to. And I'm like, well, you're not there yet, Like, you've got 10 more years, Roger.
Could you imagine the ID? And they're like, sir, you're only 50. There's no way we're letting you in here.
Right, exactly.
You are not senior enough to be in this club.
Yeah. But to go back to like Eurovision Village this year, it was completely indoors. To me, it felt more organized and structured compared to last year. That's not to
So was
discredit.
it
It's
was
not
it
to
this
discredit.
giant like warehouse looking setup?
Think of it as like it's a not it's once again it was at what is the equivalent to like a convention center here
Okay.
in the United States building, like a building like that, and it was very much organized in that manner. Um, and it's not to discredit what was organized and structured last year, but to me it just felt more put together, and it
Was
was
it
busier. It was much
was it
busier.
closer to the arena location? Like, were you walking distance to the arena from the
No,
village?
no,
Okay.
but the transportation system was set up where you could jump on a tram because it's right outside the complex, and you're there within like 15 minutes.
Okay.
Um, and they had it set up that week for, free train service. Like you didn't have to buy tickets to use the
That's
train for
nice.
the week. Um, and they had a schedule set up so like they had trains running very regularly, even past hours when you had like the nights of the shows.
Right.
So they were running a lot longer.
Which was a
And they
bit of our criticism of Malmo, and
yeah,
just okay, well, it's midnight and the show's over. How do
yeah,
you
no,
get everyone back to Copenhagen?
they and I'll say this because it's like fresh off of my memory. The night of the grand final in particular, they had specific lines coming from the arena every 7 minutes. And it's
Wow.
like, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And they're like, folks, don't worry. We've got lines coming every 7 minutes. Like, you don't need to like cramp
Well,
yourselves in there.
and I know that there was some criticism of is going to be held in a small town, a town that some may never have heard of before. How are they going to pull it off? And it seems as though Basel went all in. They said, this has become our identity for the next however many months it's going to take us to plan it. And when it happens, we are going to be ready to go.
Yeah. And they were. The talking to a lot of locals, they were excited about it. They welcomed it, but also they weren't shy to rise to the challenge. And they also
Right.
talked pretty openly about, this is not the first time that they've hosted large things like this. This is, in fact, the beginning of what's like peak tourism season for them. They have a
Okay.
large football, aka soccer, tournament coming up later this summer for them. I don't know how big of a turnout they'll get for this later this summer, but Justin Timberlake will be performing in Basel for them later this summer. So they'll have a large attraction there
I love how you put that
for
in quotes. Thank you.
that. So yeah, they had talked pretty openly about how they're used to a season of large tourism. It just so happens that Eurovision has brought that tourism in a little bit earlier and a little bit more of a higher level of traffic
Right.
because of the large platform that this brings.
Well, it's a large platform and folks are there for a week plus.
Yeah.
So this is not just I came into town for a day or two and then I'm headed out.
I mean, you have people like Roger and I who were there for 11 days. There are
Right.
folks that were there even longer than that because they're doing
You've got
other things
crews,
as
you've
well.
got setup,
Yeah.
you've got teardown, you've got artists, everything,
Yeah.
rehearsals. Like,
You name
yeah,
it, they're
that
they're doing
for
it.
Basel, that has to be a great influx. Now, I'd be curious to see, did they make money as a whole? What was the economics of it all? But
Yeah.
that's for another time, I'm sure.
Yeah. So
So, okay, so we talked about Turquoise Carpet. Tell us a little bit about the meet and greets, who you saw, what that experience was like.
the meet and greets were amazing, and I want to once again extend my thanks to Wee Wee Blogs for orchestrating and putting together a fantastic series of those, including their sponsorship with Helvetia. They run a tight ship, and I also worked really hard to try to make sure I said one-on-one to William, to Suzanne, to Simon, and to the rest of their crew that it doesn't go unrecognized. And I hope they know, as a fan, I'm very appreciative for how hard they work to put stuff like that together.
Absolutely. That organization alone is probably not for the faint of heart.
Yeah. So
So
again, thanks to them as a fan, for doing stuff like that. All in all, I know that we saw at least 6+ meet and greets. And so the ones that come to mind fresh: Albania, Luxembourg, Cyprus, Spain. Man, who else did we see?
you saw Denmark.
Saw Denmark. Man,
Obviously you saw
I mean,
Sissal.
how did that one even like
You're like,
space my brain? Who else?
what's the
did
one I
see?
remember
Yeah.
most? And it's not Denmark.
And it's not Denmark. Croatia. Saw Croatia. Man, my brain is like that fried right now. So
you saw a lot of folks, and I mean, Wee Wee Blogs for being able to get that many together, and you didn't even see all of them. Like, there just wasn't enough time to be able to see everything.
Yeah, and it's just it can be overwhelming. I'm sure for them it's a higher caliber of like overwhelming emotion. Saw Australia, saw Malta. The list kind of does sort of go on. They are trying to pack in at least 4 a day of meet and greets, and it's like clockwork for them. So they work hard, and the crowd, as the week progresses, the crowds get larger. So the room gets packed as the week progresses. So it's a lot of fun. And there are times where it can get a little overwhelming, and even times where I'm like looking at Roger and I'm like, I think we might need to skip this one just because it's getting a little bit too much. But let's watch from afar, or let's stream it later, or let's go outside and watch it.
Right. And I think that the best part is that they're providing another opportunity for the fans, because you've got more people there than can be at the grand final live show.
Yep.
And everybody wants that once in a lifetime experience, that once in a lifetime opportunity. How do you get that? And then, Wee Wee Blogs is giving that opportunity. These artists from other years are giving that opportunity. We saw Kino say, hey, we're going to be at this one place at this one time. Show up if you can.
Yeah. So,
which you did. You showed up.
Yeah, I know. It's as vague as they were. You get a little familiar with the town, and you're like, I think I can piece the clues together to just like randomly plop in. And then you get really familiar with like the Eurovision community, and you start recognizing the faces with the rest of the fan crowd, and you're like, okay, if they're here,
I know I'm in the right spot. If I see everybody I've seen from all the other events.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I'm on the right track. And you can kind of sort of like lean over and talk to that person like, are you here for the like Kino acoustic pop-up meet and greet?
The Kino pop-up?
Yeah,
like, that's really what it comes down to, right?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. And they're like, yeah, we're here for that. So you're in the right spot. Okay.
Great. Well, and then wasn't Karya at the pop-up?
Yeah, that part happened too. And they're like, and by the way, if you turn around and look at 3:00, Karya is just sitting there chilling. I'm like, is he here for that too? And they're like, we don't think so. But if you go say hi to him, he's been pretty chill.
Then you fangirled so hard.
I did. I probably spewed out a bunch of verbal nonsense to him. And
oh my gosh, it's
I
so
think
good to see you.
I think it was just something to the extent of like, "Hi, Karia, my name is Steven. I'm from the United States, and I just want you to know that I love you," or something to that extent.
And he was like, "Yeah, I get it all the time. It's fine."
Something like that. And I asked for a picture, and of course, reciprocity. He's like, "Of course you can get a picture with me, but in order for that, I need to get a video. You have to get a video, or no, I want you to do a video, doing the dab, doing one of these." And I'm like, okay. And then he's like, "I'll explain it later." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, no, just whatever.
Let me film you. You have no idea what it's for. You'll find out."
Yeah, no, Karia could film me doing anything.
As soon as I said that, I'm like, Steven's gonna run with this.
Yeah, okay. We are. Even Roger said that he is cuter in person. So
there you go.
Let that be known. So
that's his slogan. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, that's his slogan. And a nice man, very nice man indeed. And then I asked, I'm like, "Are you here for the Kino acoustic pop-up meet and greet?" And he's like, "What?" they're coming. I'm like, "Yeah, they're on their way." He had absolutely no idea. He was just chilling there with his friends at the waterfront to hang out for a little bit.
And then one does when you're in Basel.
Yeah. And then they showed up, and he's like, they asked the same thing. They were like, "Were you here?" And he's like, "I had no idea y'all were showing up. So, but I'll stick around."
Right. Like it all worked out.
Yeah. So
that has to have been, for me as an outsider watching your experience, for me, that was the highlight. So I don't know how you felt about the whole thing.
Did we talk about the amount of FOMO you and Katie were probably experiencing on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, it was real.
And it broke our hearts. Every single time I had to like send you all things, but at the same time too, I'm like, they can't not see this because I know that like Doug will love this.
Right. There's this like, there is that FOMO. There is, I'll even say it, there's that level of jealousy, but I would be more upset if you didn't share that with us.
Right.
But also we appreciate it. We thank you. We loved seeing the stuff. For folks who are watching or listening, go check out our Instagram, Eurovision Kiki. We have all kinds of stuff from Steven. We even have highlight stories from his experience. It was fantastic. You guys had a phenomenal time, and I would not trade that for you. So thank you for being there.
Oh, yeah. Austria 2026, the whole crew. Woo. We just have to manifest it and make it happen.
It's happening. We're going to be there, all of us. Yes. So there won't be any FOMO from the Kiki crew in Austria. That's the goal.
Yeah.
So okay. So we talked about some meet and greets, everything that's happening outside. What's happening inside? Inside is organized chaos.
Yeah. Inside is organized chaos at its finest, but they do it in such a way that you as a viewer, you're not privy to seeing what's going on. And I don't know if we'd like talked, well, I think we talked about it a little bit before I had to jump off in the last episode, but in hindsight, should I have to ever choose between floor seats and seated seats moving forward, I am going to choose a seated seat from here on out for many reasons. One, I like my knees and feeling my joints the next day.
It's a lot of standing.
It is a lot of standing, especially if you want like a good angle and a good view of what's happening during the live show or during any show that you might get tickets for.
Well, and when did they open the stadium?
They opened the stadium. Let's see. The show started at 9:00 and they opened the doors at like 6:30.
Okay.
I want to say it was about 6:30. So it's like 2.5 hours before the show actually kicks off. And you have people with floor seats that like dart to the front because they want to be like front at the like gate right there for various reasons. They like probably want to be on camera a little bit more.
Even before the concert starts, you've got 2.5 hours of standing. Then the concert happens and it's 2.5 hours. And so then you've just spent 5 hours standing. That's a lot. I mean,
yeah. Well, and
I think anyone whether you have a great time or not, that's a lot of standing.
It's a lot of standing, but in fact, at, and every venue could be different. Every country could be different. The
Right.
folks here, at least from our experience, when you got to the floor arena, they got there. A lot of people claimed their spot and would just kind of like sit on the floor
Okay.
or lay in some instances, just to hang out. Or they would kind of like say, if they were there with a crew, they would save an area. What Roger and I ended up doing, Roger and myself and Brian and Zachary ended up doing is we like would take turns to kind of like go in waves of like, okay, before the show, like if you need to go to the bathroom or like if you need to like
So you don't lose your spot.
go get a drink so you don't lose your spot. Um, Somebody just kind of like stand very wide or like
I need to take up some more
I
space.
need to take up as much space as humanly possible. And like you notice other people doing it too. So it's not like we were the only ones doing it, but
Right.
kind of just have to like widen your stance to make sure that like nobody takes it and you're just able to make sure that you're saving that spot for your person.
Right. I mean,
And
there's definitely there's some pros and cons involved there, right? Like, yes, you
yeah,
have to stand for 5 hours, but depending on where you are, you might have a front row view or be as close as one might get
yeah.
versus the folks that are in the seats.
Now for the floor area, possibly for the entire arena, um, they had a very strict no food and beverage policy once you actually like are going to your seat or going to your section. Um,
Hmm.
so like as soon as we were like heading back to our, you know, leaving concessions, if you will,
Right.
they had ticketing agents or ticketing folks or staff that were like, nope, you can't take your drink, or no, you can't take your food with you past this point. You have to finish it in this section
Gotcha.
before you leave. So as a floor audience member who's there for hours upon hours of standing, you're like, I am so thirsty. I just want I don't
Guys,
I'm not
guys, I'm
even thinking
parched.
I'm not
I
even
need to do
thinking
something.
I'm not even thinking about alcohol. I just want water. um so you literally are like between those like 3-minute breaks or commercial segments, you're like bolting to concessions to like get water, um
Right.
and chug it and come back. So that part was a little difficult, but you just kind of had to manage. But looking around, I felt like that was an arena policy in general. I didn't
Okay.
see other folks that were seated allowed to do the same thing either, at least during the
Right.
live shows. I can't speak upon those that went to any of the afternoon or evening
Right.
rehearsal shows. So,
Well, and let's just say for our viewer audience, you were at all three live
yeah,
shows.
Roger Roger and I were able to go to the live semifinal one show, and then our friends Brian and Zachary joined us for the later half of the trip, and they did the second live semifinal show with us, and then the grand final show.
Right. So there are 9 shows that happen over the course of the week. You've got
Yep,
afternoon shows, you've got evening
evening
rehearsal
rehearsals.
shows, you've got the live shows.
Correct.
So out of all 9 shows, you got all 3 lives, which is a big deal. I mean,
We worked hard to get those tickets.
yes. And we
Yes.
are happy that you were able to do that. And that's an amazing experience.
Yeah.
So, when you were in the arena, concerts going, what's maybe your biggest takeaway that you're seeing that the audience doesn't see during the each number?
The true raw emotions that you see from the performers and from the their delegation staff that you don't see on camera during the actual live results.
Hmm.
and final outcomes.
Because
That especially,
we
yeah,
see what they want us to see. Like
yeah,
that, those cameras are very much on one or two delegations, but you've got 13,
yeah.
14 other delegations that are not on camera at the time. So you're saying that you can see all of that.
You can see the stress, you can see the emotions, you can at the live shows. The tension is real, and you know, I hope Marco from Croatia, I hope that this drops into your algorithm one day, because I would love to get you on the podcast and talk through your experiences, because I saw firsthand everything that you were going through all the way through the end of the first semifinal
Okay, so
and final
tell
results.
us tell us about this setup. Like how where are the artists in relationship to the floor seats, and what's that setup look like?
So we're on the floor. We Roger and I found ourselves in the center floor area. So directly above us, behind from like we've got main stage in front of us, but directly behind us is the green room,
Okay.
where where all of the participating countries are being seated. Um, and during semifinal one, when Marco from Croatia was performing, and they're reading out the 10 qualifying countries, you can see his you can see that he's just going through it, and as countries are getting read out and he is not getting selected, the confidence is just kind of dwindling, and it's
You're trying to keep that hope, keep that faith, but
you
it's a
are,
struggle. I mean, I can't imagine what he's going through
yeah.
at that moment.
In addition to that, like you've got Belgium that's also still not getting called out as well,
Right.
and the two of them had built a pretty solid friendship throughout this process. And as you are getting to the last country that is getting ready to get called out, um, they neither one of those countries advance. And I remember Marco standing up immediately um, and mouthing something and just kind of like looking over. And you can see that like Belgium did not qualify. And he walked over to give Red Sebastian a hug, hugging a few other qualifying countries as well to congratulate them, and also hugging a couple of the other countries that did not qualify before going back to his seat and, crying. He didn't qualify. And it,
I mean, there's a
like,
lot of emotion in that moment. Like
yeah, you're,
anybody can be
you,
expected to have.
and you as a at home viewer are not seeing this, and you just can't help but like feel bad. His performance was good, but
Oh,
again, only 10
the
countries.
elevation
Yeah.
from his national final to this,
Yeah.
and he performed the hell out of it.
Yeah.
So I didn't say this before, but I've got receipts. He was my votes.
Yeah.
So I put my votes to Croatia for semifinal one because I liked what he brought to the table and I was hopeful for him. So when you as an artist are up there, you have to be hopeful because you can't be like doubting yourself in that moment.
Yeah.
So he bet on himself
Yeah.
as anybody should, and so the devastation that you when you don't advance, it's going to hit
Yeah.
to anybody who doesn't advance. Like whether you like the song or not, at the end of the day, they're human beings.
Yeah. And that's exactly in that moment, you're just like, you want to just reach out and give Marco a hug and let him know that this is not the end. This is only the beginning. And tell him that it's going to be okay. Um,
Right.
and there were people that were doing that for him as well, but the show is continuing. There's the segment where they line all of the 10 performing artists up and they're panning to them like, you're coming back on Saturday, this, that, and the other. And meanwhile, he's over there back in his area, going through his emotions.
Yeah.
And as the show is wrapping up, they're trying to escort the non-qualifying participants off of the green room, and they're trying to have him walk past all of the qualifying artists to exit stage left, if you will, when there is a completely vacant stairwell directly next to him. And
So
they're telling him he can't go down those stairs.
so
And
instead of doing the staircase behind me, I have to parade
I have
through
to
all of
walk
the artists who just advanced.
exactly. And you can he's like he's asking them, at least again, I can't read lips, but the body language, and you can just tell by the conversation, is like he is asking them if he can just please walk that way. And you've got staff that are like, no, you have to go this way. And they're going back and forth. And finally they do let him go down the
Right.
stairwell that's directly next to him. But it's just like, why are you throwing salt in a wound to this person?
Right. He's
And
not he's not having a diva moment or
no,
anything.
but
He's
like let him be
not being
human.
rude. He's just saying, why do I need to be
Yeah,
paraded in front of everybody who just
yeah,
beat me and is celebrating when I'm having
let
a
him
not
let
so
him
great time?
yeah, just like let him be human. And this is like, Marco, if this ever reaches you, like I want to like come talk to us about your experience, because I just want to
Right.
like know more about everything. I also want to like applaud him because immediately the next night he got up on stage at Euro Club and performed, and I just commend him for that act alone, and just thank him for coming to shine his light again, for everybody that was there, and to let us know that he is okay.
Right.
So
And
thank you.
I think that is kind of a big takeaway for me at least when
Yeah,
I see a country not advance that I was rooting for,
yeah,
like Croatia, like Belgium. You're saying, okay, yes, does it sting in the moment? Sure.
yeah,
But what else can we take from this experience? Because there are people who are now fans of your music. Your music has reached people that it may not have otherwise, and as you mentioned earlier, this is just the beginning.
yeah,
How do you take this moment and use this moment to advance where you see yourself, what you want to get, what are your goals?
yep, exactly. So those are the things that, like, as an at-home viewer, you may not necessarily see, and maybe even as a live audience member, you
Right,
might notice it, but
you were
like,
privy to something that people sitting in a seat on the side of the arena may not have had an angle at.
right. Or they may have like noticed it and just like brushed it off, or I for some reason I was hyper focused on it,
Right,
and it
it
may
stuck
have
with
just
you.
be because I was like, this guy is going through it, and I just can't help but feel the need to reach out and like extend a hug to him if I could.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we're all human. And
Well, and Marco just recently posted when we recorded this. It's Memorial Day. It is Monday, the 26th, and he just posted that he's in the studio making music.
yeah,
So
and
we are bound to see more from Marco.
yeah, and as if people are following Marco's post Eurovision journey, he has been, that NDA is now in void, and he is talking about everything and anything. So all the more reason why, if you ever want to jump in and Kiki with us,
Yeah,
the
give us the tea, Marco.
give
That's
us
what we're
give it
saying.
yeah the tea is piping. So by all means, let us know. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's just like, and that's just semifinal one, we
Right. Woo!
I
We
mean,
just there's so much to unpack.
I know.
We never have time for it all.
I know.
Now,
Part 3 coming soon.
and when we get to part 18, okay. So when you were in the arena, what what hyped you up the most? Now, we as an audience could hear people chanting for Erika.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes they did mute the sound. You know, we had that with the serving cunt. We had that with second place winner or second place finisher. So we had the audience being muted at times.
Mhm.
That being said, we all heard everybody chanting for Erika. What songs do you think the crowd was most hyped for, just based on what you heard?
Sweden, and everybody wanting to just do some sauna time. And the crowd loves Kai, and I
Right.
don't blame them because it's
Was the audience doing the dance?
when space and room allowed it. I like
Right. I mean, you can still do this part,
yeah,
you know.
you could still do this. Like if you had enough room, you could do this, but like yeah, everybody was about that. There Brian and Zachary have like a super awesome yet awkward video clip of me just belting it out and going through the emotions, like not panned to me, but like you can hear me in the background not only singing but screaming to the top of my lungs while Sissal is performing at the grand
Of
final
course.
during Hallucination, and I'm like, get it, girl, come on. But like at the same time I'm crying because like we all know that she's my number one. I probably was one of that two votes. So yeah, like she was one that everybody was hyped for.
That's good.
And that there was that one. Um, Another one that I think surprises folks and maybe not is in fact Latvia. Everybody wants to join them, and
Everybody is joining the
everybody
mothership.
everybody is joining the cult. At
And that's
least
fine.
there,
You know, that's the thing is like there are songs that people don't necessarily have on their radar, but then the audience loves them.
yeah,
So an example is last year Estonia. They
yeah.
were not on my radar. Not a fan of the song. Then you get to the arena, they start performing, and the crowd is wild. They are
They're
loving
just
it. They are
they're
eating
all
it
about it.
up.
Yep.
They're all about it. And so when the audience gets hyped, I get hyped, right?
And you may have to go back and rewatch the grand final, but I remember it from just where we were standing at the grand final. There is a section of folks who had T-shirts that said "Berman Limey," and so I'm like, "Yep, they're they're with the
Her whole,
crew. They're with they're with they're with Tautumaitis." So
I would love if that was all of their like aunts and grandmas.
it turns out they're just family members. I mean, maybe, but I was just like, "Yep, they're with the crew,"
Right.
and I'm here for it.
So, and that as an audience member, even like when I could hear people chanting for Erika, you were like, "All right, yeah."
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you feel that energy, you soak it in, and so in a way, because I know that the crowd loved it so much, it makes me love it more.
yeah,
And of course,
absolutely.
that goes back to our whole conversation that uh, Katie and I had last time about staging and what you see on the stage versus
Yeah,
what you see at home.
which
So
is
that's a whole nother conversation.
yeah,
But to the point, when it feels as though it's a concert and I see the crowd getting hyped, that
she
is
was
an
one.
important.
She was a major hype for the crowd. So
Right.
absolutely.
So yeah, were there any performances that stood out as not the opposite of hype that you were just like, this sort of sucked the energy out of the room?
I wouldn't say it sucked the energy out of the room. And I know that you and Katie talked about it, but there is, and again, I think it will always just depend on where you are seated in the
Where are you sitting?
arena.
Where are you standing? What
Where are you
angle do you
sitting? Yeah.
have?
What angle do you have? But like as an audience member, if you are seated in a section and you've got Armenia running on a treadmill or in one particular
We saw that
spot, yeah.
TikTok going around,
Yeah.
and that
And
angle, you couldn't
and
see
and
anything.
the way that they have the pillar structured, like you're not gonna see him for 3 minutes. And
Right,
there's just like no getting around it. If you are the United Kingdom and for 2/3 of their performance, beginning and end, you have a headboard that is plopped right in the middle, and Roger and I are in the floor at the center of the floor arena. We're not going to
right,
see 2/3 of their performance until we get home.
right.
If
And I
you,
mean that obviously the case is there's 170
yeah,
million people watching.
so
There's
I'll see it when I get
100 or
home.
so
Yeah,
on.
I'll see it when I get home, and that's okay.
Right.
It will not impact their. It will not impact the majority of viewers. It will just
I mean,
impact
don't.
a small amount of people that happen to be there at that period
Right.
of time that are watching it.
I might be critical of it, but let's be honest.
Yeah.
If given the opportunity of being there live and not seeing the UK's performance or being at home, I'll still take the live.
Yeah. Guess what? I'm going home and I'm gonna watch it a bazillion times.
Right.
Because that's what gets me. That's what gets me through the day.
Yeah, you will be watching enough on repeat that you will
Yeah.
see it. It's fine.
It's gonna be fine. Yeah. So, plus I already know who I'm voting for. So there's also that.
Now, the one other thing that I wanted to ask was that did you see from your vantage point any of the like outtakes or the oopsie moments that we saw?
Not during the live shows. Like I know there was the almost fall from Melody with her flip during one of the rehearsals, or at least from that angle, it looked like she almost, got a mess up.
Yeah.
So I did not see that.
The other two that I
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Nope.
Oh, the two that I was thinking of is in the semifinal to Malta when she takes off her dress. There seemed to be just ever so slightly of a snag that when they switched camera angles, the dress was kind of like flying past us, which obviously we didn't see in the finals. So the timing must have been just off.
So for me, no. But again,
but you would never have noticed that from your angle.
I wouldn't have noticed it from my angle because again, like I'm watching it as a live performance. So
yeah,
wouldn't have made a difference for me
until
I get home and watch the comparisons. What was
and then we've got Justina and her straps.
Oh, it's going to be for that one. I feel like it's going to be different every performance because she can't time that correctly every single time.
Right.
So
yeah, which I mean, girl, you didn't need that moment.
Yes, she did. It was. Nope.
She goes up. She goes hi, and then she comes back down.
She can do
what?
This is why the woman can do no wrong because I want to be doing that shit at 52 in high heels as well. And so
absolutely. Like,
go up, come down, run, and do the dance and hit those notes at 52. Go off.
I know that I'm being overly critical of that moment. Overall, 98% of her performance, absolutely breathtaking, amazing. Her use of the LED lights and the screens and that dragon going from the back down into the absolutely beautiful.
But also her backup dancers.
It is just that moment.
Yeah. and also she knows how to like hire incredibly beautiful backup dancers that like I just cannot take my eyes off of.
Do you want to shout him out on this podcast?
I can't. It's like Christopher something. I can't remember. And also no, because I don't want him to know that like He's got like a quasi stalker on. So.
We call you are a passionate fan
I'm a
who
passionate fan.
appreciates
His
the,
beauty
you know,
and his artistic dancing creativity.
well, I mean, we look at the artists and we shout out these artists, but they're not a team of one. They're not.
Yeah.
It's not just them. It's
Yeah.
if you have backup, even if you don't have anyone on the stage with you, you
Yep.
have a set designer, you've got costumes, you've got makeup.
Yeah.
They are a team. So shout out to anybody who was on any delegation's team.
For
period.
real. Yep.
Speaking of which, Armenia Parg, his stage designer was Colleen.
Sure was. And Brian made sure that she knew he was there.
Oh, oh no. Like hopefully not in like a weird, creepy kind of way.
No, it's just like, again, it's semifinal 2 night. And this will be like the last, like, before we call this episode and share more tidbits in our next episode. But as we are leaving semifinal 2 night and wrapping up, we're walking, and earlier in the evening he had asked, like, is that Kayleen? And I'm like, yeah, girl, that's her. And so, like, we're leaving and he's just screaming her name. Repeat. And finally she looks down and he's just like, hi. And she's just like, hi.
Okay, hi.
And he's like, she said hi to me. And I'm like, took a while, but yeah, she did. I'm so happy for you.
He was fangirling hard.
He fangirled really hard. And I was just, I was here. I'm like, you know what? I fangirled for all these other people. And so I'm glad that you got your fangirl moment too. And that she recognized you and, like, said hello as well. Because
I mean, obviously they're best friends. They follow each other on Instagram now. Clearly,
yes, absolutely. And yes, I'm not gonna discredit it, because I had my numerous fangirl moments throughout the week, and that was one of his fangirl moments as well. So I was very happy that he got that moment.
And to anybody who can be there in person, this is your week. In some respects, shoot your shot. Like, you want to have those moments.
Yes,
you want to have those moments that you can remember forever.
Yes.
So we can't fault it. We might eye roll just ever so slightly. But Brian, good for you.
You did it, girl. Proud of you.
Oh goodness. And with that, I think we should probably call it.
Yes. Part 3 coming soon, because we have so much more to deep dive into. There's still semifinal 2 night to dive into.
There's just more. So much to happen that trying to get it all, I'm sure we're gonna miss something, and someone's gonna be like, they didn't talk about X, Y, and Z. Okay, but we got 400 other things.
Well, I mean, that's why we have the comment section. Let us know if there's things that you have questions about down below in the comments, if you're watching or listening on YouTube or Spotify. But I think in the meantime, that'll do it for this episode. So thanks for listening. If you got questions, like I said, leave them down in the comments below. Feel free to like and subscribe. Click the notifications button too if you want to get updates for new episodes. We try to drop them weekly, every Tuesday. You can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Eurovision Kiki. You can also send us questions too via email at eurovisionkiki@gmail.com. But hopefully next week we'll have Katie back in the Kiki, and through the trio will continue on. But I think for now, we'll close it out for the week, and I think we will see you all at our next Kiki.
Bye.
Bye-bye.